Lu Fan's team began their journey through the dense forest, which was shrouded in thick fog and teeming with strange, exotic animals. Jian Ying led the way, with Lu Fan following close behind, his hands casually tucked into his pants pockets. Tao Xiaoman was right behind Lu Fan, her eyes scanning their surroundings. She turned her head slightly and asked Lu Fan in a calm voice why he had chosen this secret realm, considering it had a fear difficulty rating of level 45. Qin Xiao, who was walking behind Tao Xiaoman, clutched her magic staff with both hands, her eyes silently taking in the eerie environment. On the other side of the group, Lu Fan's aunt, Han Jia, was visibly nervous, her eyes darting around the forest. Lu Fan turned his head slightly, catching Tao Xiaoman's eye with a joyful gaze. He smiled and explained that he had been searching through the secret realm hall for a long time, but hadn't found anything that matched the level of expertise they needed more than this realm. Tao Xiaoman furrowed her brows, feeling a bit confused. She clarified that she didn't mean to question his choice, but was concerned about the realm's high difficulty. At that moment, Han Jia stopped walking, took out a small bag, and with her eyes closed, started smiling. She asked the group to pause for a moment. "If we're going to fight," Han Jia said, "I want to share something delicious with everyone." She opened the bag to reveal high-quality travel biscuits. These biscuits, she explained, would boost their experience gain by 20% for the next 3 hours after consuming them. Lu Fan's smile widened at the sight of the biscuits. He thought about how useful they would be, helping them reach the second transformation level more quickly. He, Qin Xiao, and Tao Xiaoman each took a biscuit and started eating. They found them delicious and felt the immediate benefits of the buffs. Han Jia, still holding the bag of biscuits, turned to face them. Her eyes were closed, and she wore a pleasant smile. She explained that these cookies were made from a recipe distributed by the life profession teacher. Many of her classmates had tried and failed to make them, but Han Jia, with her high success rate as an enchanter chef, had succeeded on her first attempt. Jian Ying was walking peacefully at the front of the group, enjoying the calm atmosphere. The sun was shining, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees around them. Her teammates followed behind, chatting softly among themselves. Suddenly, Han Jia called out to her from behind, her voice warm and inviting. Jian Ying turned her head back, curious about what Han Jia wanted. Han Jia, holding a bag of biscuits, approached Jian Ying with a bright smile. She offered the cookies to Jian Ying, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "You should try these," Han Jia said, her tone cheerful and encouraging. Jian Ying looked at her with surprise, wondering why Han Jia was being so kind to her. She turned her body to face Han Jia fully, her eyes now fixed on the bag of biscuits. As she took a biscuit from the bag, Jian Ying asked, "Did you make the cake that Lu Fan gave me last time?" Her voice was soft, filled with curiosity. Han Jia closed her eyes briefly, her smile widening. "Yes, I did," she replied. "If you like the cake, I can make more for you anytime." Her words were sincere, and Jian Ying could feel the warmth in them. While they were talking, Qin Xiao and Tao Xiaoman joined them, both wearing pleasant smiles. "Sister Han Jia's cooking is really delicious," Qin Xiao said, her tone enthusiastic. "We live close by, so feel free to come over anytime." Tao Xiaoman nodded in agreement, her smile just as welcoming. At first, Jian Ying looked at them with an indifferent expression, unsure of how to respond to their friendliness. But as she listened to their kind words and saw their genuine smiles, she couldn't help but start smiling herself. Their warmth was infectious, and she felt a sense of belonging beginning to grow within her. Meanwhile, Lu Fan, who was walking ahead, noticed something unusual. He turned his head slightly, his eyes narrowing as he saw something moving among the bushes. His expression became serious, and he called out to the group, "Be careful." Upon hearing his warning, Tao Xiaoman and Han Jia immediately turned their heads, their senses on high alert. They scanned the area quickly, their eyes darting from side to side. Suddenly, a snake with black scales and piercing green eyes slithered out from the bushes. It moved with a menacing grace, its gaze fixed on them. They had been spotted by a monster. The monster that approached the team was a fearsome level 40 creature known as the black-scaled python. This terrifying beast possessed 9,120 experience points and could be defeated to obtain its coveted python poison fang and 1,740 dragon coins. The black-scaled python had two formidable abilities. The first was called Poison Fang, which allowed it to inflict a layer of toxin on its bitten target, each layer reducing the target's maximum health by 10%. The second ability was known as Death Coil, which enabled it to restrain its target, immobilizing them and causing them to lose 10% of their health every 5 seconds. Upon seeing the snake, Tao Xiaoman immediately gathered her momentum and began moving towards it. She unsheathed her sword, readying herself for the impending battle. Hanjia, who had been snacking on some biscuits, quickly put them away when he saw that Tao Xiaoman was prepared to attack. Qin Xiu, with a surprised look on her face, reached out her hand towards Tao Xiaoman, urging her to wait. Lu Fan, on the other hand, was somewhat confused. He didn't understand why Tao Xiaoman was in such a hurry to confront the snake. The black-scaled python, sensing the threat, opened its mouth, ready to launch its own attack. Undeterred, Tao Xiaoman tightly gripped her sword and launched a powerful strike at the python, successfully countering its attack. Meanwhile, Qin Xiu, who was holding her magic staff with both hands, explained to the team that all the monsters in this area were level 40 or higher, meaning they couldn't be easily defeated. Hearing this, Hanjia started sweating and couldn't help but feel scared. She looked at Tao Xiaoman and suggested that she could prepare some food to increase their resistances, but she needed to gather some ingredients first. Lu Fan, maintaining a calm demeanor, told them that preparing food wasn't necessary. After saying this, he extended his hand to the side, causing a magical ball to begin forming. He looked at his hand and commanded everyone to focus solely on fighting, assuring them that he would handle the other problems. The energy emanating from his hand began to spread everywhere, enveloping the area with a powerful aura. Tao Xiaoman turned her head back and asked Lu Fan what he was going to do. Her eyes reflected curiosity and concern. Beside her, Jianing remained calm, though her eyes began to focus more intently on Lu Fan, realizing he was about to summon his dragon. Her serious gaze indicated she understood the gravity of the situation. Several seconds later, a little dragon appeared over Lu Fan's head. This unexpected sight caused confusion among the girls. Tao Xiaoman, her eyebrows furrowed in puzzlement, asked Lu Fan if this creature was indeed a dragon. The small dragon, with its shimmering scales and playful demeanor, climbed onto Lu Fan's head. Lu Fan, with a pleasant smile and a twinkle in his eye, closed one eye and gently admonished the dragon, calling it mischievous and asking it not to sit on his head. Upon hearing the dragon's name, Xiao Fei, Qin Xiu couldn't help but be surprised. She realized that this dragon was not Xiao Yi, indicating that Lu Fan had not just one, but two dragons. Her eyes widened with amazement, and she wondered silently about the mysterious second dragon. Hanjia, equally astonished, asked Lu Fan where this dragon had come from and why she had never seen it before. Meanwhile, Jianing simply stared at the dragon, her silence filled with a contemplative depth. While everyone was distracted, a sinister black python slithered stealthily towards Tao Xiaoman, preparing to strike. The snake's scales glinted ominously in the dim light, its eyes focused on its target. Tao Xiaoman, sensing the imminent danger, was flabbergasted. She realized she could not react in time to block another attack from the menacing python. Her heart raced as she braced for the worst. At that crucial moment, Lu Fan's calm voice cut through the tension. He directed his gaze towards the snake and, with an unwavering calmness, gave Xiao Fei the order to use the emerald light. The little dragon, hearing Lu Fan's command, reacted instantly. The gem on Xiao Fei's chest began to glow with a brilliant green light, pulsating with energy. The snake, with a sinister look, swung its tail in a powerful arc, aiming directly at Tao Xiaoman. But just as the attack was about to land, a green shield materialized in front of her. The shield's radiant glow contrasted sharply with the snake's dark, menacing form. The shield absorbed the brunt of the attack, preventing Tao Xiaoman from getting hurt. Despite the shield's protection, the enormous force of the snake's strike sent her flying backward. She landed on the ground with a thud, momentarily stunned but unharmed. As Xiaoman lay on the ground, her breaths coming in ragged gasps, Qin Xiu's heart ached for her friend. Determined to help, Qin Xiu moved quickly to her side. She prepared her healing spell, her hands glowing with a soft, soothing light. Just as Qin Xiu was about to cast her spell, she noticed something strange above Xiaoman's head. 3 delicate leaves hovered there, shimmering with a faint green light. As the python's tail lashed out and struck Xiaoman, one of the leaves vanished, dissolving into tiny sparkles that disappeared into the air. Xiaoman began to sit up, a look of confusion crossing her face. Why am I not in more pain? Xiaoman wondered aloud. The force of the python's attack should have left her incapacitated, yet here she was, feeling almost protected. At that moment, Lu Fan's voice cut through the chaos. Xiao Fei, use the Emerald Light ability on Xiaoman, he commanded. The Emerald Light ability applies 3 layers of Emerald Blessing, Lu Fan explained, approaching the 2 girls. It removes all negative effects and increases all attributes by 30%. Each layer can block one instance of damage. Xiaoman looked up at Lu Fan, her eyes wide with amazement. So, that's why I didn't feel the full impact of the attack, she asked. Lu Fan nodded, a proud smile on his face. That's right. With Xiao Fei here, you don't need to worry about debuffs or injuries. Everyone can relax. Qin Xiao, still concerned, carefully examined Xiaoman for any remaining injuries. As she worked, she couldn't help but marvel at Xiao Fei's ability. Not only did it remove debuffs, but it also blocked damage and increased attributes. The more Qin Xiao thought about it, the more she realized just how powerful Xiao Fei was. It was as if the little dragon's skill set surpassed even that of a highly skilled priest. Xiaoman, you're really lucky, Qin Xiao said softly. Xiao Fei's abilities are incredible. They're even better than a second-level priest's skills. Sitting up straighter, Xiaoman couldn't hide her awe. Dragons are truly amazing, she murmured. Even a small dragon like Xiao Fei can block damage and enhance all of my attributes. While everyone was distracted, the black python slithered closer. Its dark, scaly body moved silently through the underbrush, its eyes locked onto Xiaoman and Qin Xiao. Without warning, it opened its massive mouth, ready to strike. Hanjia, who had just noticed the imminent danger, went into shock. Her eyes widened in fear as she screamed, "The snake is charging towards us." Her voice was a mix of panic and urgency, alerting everyone to the threat. In an instant, Lu Fan unsheathed his dagger. His face was set with determination as he sprinted towards the snake. His mind was focused on one thing, protecting his friends. The dagger gleamed in his hand as he prepared to attack the monstrous serpent. But just as Lu Fan was about to strike, a powerful red light shot out from behind him. The sudden flash of energy was so intense that he barely managed to dodge it. Shocked, Lu Fan stumbled back, his heart pounding. What's happening? He thought, his mind racing to understand the source of the mysterious light. Hanjia, overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, closed her eyes and moved aside, screaming in fear. The red light, which was actually an energy arrow, pierced the python's open mouth with incredible precision. The snake screeched in agony, its body writhing violently before collapsing to the ground. Everyone turned to see who had launched the attack. Standing tall, her expression calm and resolute, was Jianing. She held her sword firmly, the weapon still glowing faintly from the energy arrow it had just unleashed. Several seconds later, the sword, now identified as Bloodbreaker, returned to her hand. The aura around her was intense, radiating power and confidence. Jianing scanned the group, her eyes serious. "Don't waste any more time," she commanded. Her voice was steady, but there was an urgency to it. Everyone was in shock, their eyes wide with disbelief. They couldn't fathom how she had killed the snake with a single, precise strike. Jianing paid no mind to their astonishment. She tightened her grip on Bloodbreaker, a sword that was more than just a weapon. It was an epic-quality weapon, exclusive to her hidden combat class, Sword Master. At level 21, Jianing had unlocked abilities that made her a formidable warrior. She turned her head slightly, her eyes narrowing. "We are now the targets of the monsters," she revealed. Her words sent a chill through the group. Jin Ying's hidden combat class, Sword Master, came with immense power. Bloodbreaker increased her strength by 3947 points and her agility by 126 points. It also granted her two abilities, Armor Breaker, which ignored 30% of a target's defense, and Agility, which increased her speed by 40%. The black python's body collapsed to the ground after being killed, signaling the end of a fierce battle. Lu Fan stood over the fallen creature, his eyes wide with surprise as he turned to look at Jianing. He couldn't help but be amazed at the sight before him, realizing that this was how a true sword master fought. The doubts he had about Jianying's strength, who ranked second in the national examination, vanished instantly. Her prowess was indeed impressive. Jianing, with a swift and graceful motion, turned her body to the side and threw her sword again. Meanwhile, Lu Fan sheathed his dagger and began running towards Hanjia. "Crouch down!" he shouted urgently. Hanjia, upon hearing Lu Fan's voice, turned towards him with a confused gaze, wondering what he was referring to. She had no idea that a spider monster was silently approaching her from behind. Its bloody eyes locked on her as it prepared to strike. With a sudden, deadly motion, the spider attacked Hanjia, one of its sharp legs poised to impale her. But just in time, Jin Ying's sword struck the spider's leg, altering the course of its attack. Lu Fan, reacting swiftly, leaped towards Hanjia, grabbing her by the neck to pull her out of harm's way. They both fell to the ground, narrowly avoiding the spider's deadly strike. The spider took several steps back, its gaze fixed intently on Jianing, who stood ready for the next move. This was no ordinary spider. Its silver-armored exoskeleton gleamed under the light, revealing its formidable defense. Known as the silver-armored spider, it had 15,750 experience points and, when killed, could yield valuable materials like the silver armor shell and 4,110 dragon coins. This creature was not to be underestimated, for it possessed 3 dangerous abilities. The first ability was its poisonous fangs. When the spider bit its target, it would infect them with a potent poison. Each layer of poison reduced the target's maximum health by 10%, a lethal attribute in prolonged battles. The second ability, mandible piercing, allowed the spider to balance on its front limbs and pierce 2 targets simultaneously. If it failed, it could attempt the ability again, making it a relentless attacker. The third ability, silver armor, rendered the spider immune to armor-breaking effects, a defense that made it nearly invincible against sword master professionals. Lu Fan grabbed Han Jie by the shoulders, his grip firm yet gentle as he guided her to sit down. Han Jie placed both hands on the ground, her breath heavy from exhaustion. Meanwhile, the sword flew back to Jianing, who caught it effortlessly. She felt a surge of energy and momentum, her eyes narrowing with determination as she set her sights on the massive spider before her. With swift and precise movements, she began to move quickly towards the creature, every step filled with purpose and resolve. Lu Fan and Han Jie turned their heads, their eyes widening in surprise as they saw Jianing ready to attack. The spider, sensing the imminent threat, raised its sharp leg and focused its gaze on her. It used its mandible-piercing skill, aiming to impale her with its deadly appendages. But Jianing was quick, her reflexes honed from countless battles. She dodged the attack with ease, her movements fluid and graceful. The spider, undeterred, tried the mandible-piercing skill again, but Jianing was too fast. She evaded the attack once more, causing the creature's skill to fail. Realizing the spider had exhausted its ability, Jianing seized the opportunity. She leaped into the air, her sword poised for a counterattack. Lu Fan, sensing the critical moment, grabbed his dagger with one hand and clenched his other fist tightly. He started moving towards Jianing, his face serious and focused. "Be careful," he called out, catching her attention just as she was about to strike. In that tense moment, as Jianing was attacking the spider monster, its leg shot out with a sudden, unexpected ferocity. The attack broke through her defenses, striking her with a fatal blow. Jianing gasped, her body shuddering from the impact. Lu Fan, seeing her in danger, surged forward with renewed determination. He reached the spider in seconds, his dagger flashing as he delivered a powerful blow under the spider's jaw. The creature shuddered, its legs twitching before it collapsed to the ground, lifeless. Jianing, though wounded, jumped from the spider's corpse. She began to float in the air, her eyes blazing with a mix of pain and resolve. She turned her body to one side, looking down at Lu Fan with a serious expression. "Don't let your guard down," she warned, her voice steady despite her injury. Lu Fan landed on the spider's corpse, his eyes following Jianing's gaze. He couldn't help but wonder what she was talking about, but as he scanned the area, he noticed movement in the bushes not far from them. His heart sank as he saw more silver-armored spiders emerging from their hiding spots, their eyes gleaming with malice. While Jianing floated gracefully in the air, she extended her hands to the sides. Suddenly, 2 more swords materialized, each radiating its own unique aura. The black sword that appeared first was known as the Breaking Army Greatsword. This mighty weapon, with a level of 21, was of epic quality and exclusive to the Sword Master class. It was a sight to behold, with its dark blade gleaming ominously. The sword possessed a powerful ability called Mountain Shaker, which could inflict 210% physical damage and spread 21% of that damage to nearby enemies. The force of the blow would ripple through the battlefield, shaking the very ground beneath their feet and sending enemies stumbling. Beside the black sword, a blue sword appeared, shimmering with an icy light. This was the Water-Cold Sword, with a level of 14. Though of excellent quality, it was also exclusive to the Sword Master class. The blade seemed to emanate a chill that could pierce to the bone. Its special ability, Frost, inflicted ice attribute damage, significantly slowing the target's movements by 30%. The air around the blade seemed to freeze, and a cold mist followed its every swing. Jianying's gaze became intense as she focused on the scene before her. She turned to Lu Fan, her eyes revealing the threat they faced. Before them were silver-armored spiders, their metallic bodies glinting in the dim light. However, it wasn't just these spiders that concerned her. Behind them, stretching ominously in the shadows, was a giant spider web. At the center of this web sat a monstrous black spider, its eyes gleaming with malice. This creature was known as the Black Web Hunter, a formidable foe with a level of 45. Defeating the Black Web Hunter was no small task, but the rewards were substantial. Slaying this beast would grant 39,110 experience points, a rare material called spider eyes, and a generous sum of 7,519 dragon coins. However, the danger it posed was equally significant. The Black Web Hunter had two deadly skills. The first was Poison Fang, a vicious bite that infected its target with a layer of poison. Each layer of this toxin reduced the victim's maximum health by 10%, a debilitating effect that could quickly turn the tide of battle. The second skill was even more terrifying. Called Web Blind, it allowed the Black Web Hunter to ensnare its prey in a sticky web. Once captured, the target had only 60 seconds to escape before the web constricted and the victim met a grim end. The web was nearly impossible to break free from, and those caught within it found themselves struggling in vain as the seconds ticked away.